quick thanks to A Tribe Called Fantasy community. Thanks for joining the squad. We officially hit 50 subs this past week. We're super hype. We're going to be pushing on till we hit 100, and then we're just going to keep going from there.
Thanks for checking out this video. You could be listening to any idiot on the internet with a mic in front of them, but you chose to listen to us, and we appreciate that.
We're sending you a virtual hug. If you have any trade questions or start-sit questions, leave a comment. Justin or myself will definitely respond, or maybe even both of us will respond.
If you like the video, drop us a like, comment, sub. You know the drill.
Welcome to A Tribe Called Fantasy with your hosts, Greg and Justin.
It's time for the playoff push, boys. And up first, on our trade targets, is Calvin Ridley. He's been very productive this year. He's been putting up crazy numbers. He's still the wide receiver 8, even with missing a game. He's got a bye week this week. So that's probably going to be your saving grace because the Calvin Ridley owner probably wants to pay a lot. But if they're hurting, they're in a situation where they need some dubs. The fact that they're going to miss this week and that he's already hurt, he's banged up, I think that bodes well for your trade talk, your persuasion. And he's just a great player, honestly. I mean, you're going to have to pay a lot for him, but I think it's worth what you get knowing that even with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley is going to put up ridiculous numbers every single week.
I think it's even more promising that without Julio Jones, he's putting up ridiculous numbers, because I think the talk about Calvin Ridley was that he was benefiting off of Julio Jones, which is true 100%. But even when Julio was not out there, he was getting it done as the main wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Julio Jones teaching him how to run routes.
Very true.
You saw that video?
I did.
That's crazy. Julio Jones is the wide receiver coach for the Falcons.
What's his rest of season schedule looking like?
That's a great question.
Let me go take a peek at what the Falcons got coming up. All right, so in your playoff push, you got the Chargers, which is a great matchup. Then the Buccaneers, not as great of a matchup, but I kind of feel like the Falcons can just put points on anyone.
They're going to score no matter what.
And then in Week 16, the Kansas City Chiefs, it honestly doesn't get much better than that for championship week.
Yeah, you need a shootout. Their defense statistically is good, but I think it's a lot of teams getting blown out, so they just kind of give up. They have terrible time of possession, but I think that it doesn't matter what defense that the Falcons are playing. Even if their defense is trash, they're going to put up points. Who are you trading Calvin Ridley for? Or what are you giving up?
If you're trading for Calvin Ridley, you're probably having to give up
Tyler Lockett. I'm giving up Tyler Lockett for sure.
I wonder, from a Calvin Ridley perspective, I'm looking at Tyler Lockett and another asset. Definitely not doing that straight up. Calvin Ridley, I think, has more value than Tyler Lockett moving forward. I guess other people would see it differently, though.
Something to look at. Maybe you throw in Tyler Lockett and you have Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if anybody would take that. Maybe Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, that would definitely push it over the top. I'm taking that trade if I'm Calvin Ridley owner. And chance that you might need a running back. I think that's the huge question mark, is like, what holes are you trying to fill? I don't think if you have Calvin Ridley, you're not turning him into 2 wide receivers. You're buying Calvin Ridley. I don't think that you're going to be able to get 2. Yeah, you might be. It just depends. Maybe you could do like I was going to say Tyler Boyd and like Todd Gurley. That would be a pretty high, I feel like.
Yeah, maybe you need another player for that. Calvin Ridley and J.D. McKissick. That's a little high, I would say.
I was going to say low.
What if you have Justin Herbert as your second quarterback? You throw Tyler Lockett, Justin Herbert.
That's a great
Calvin
trade.
Ridley owner.
Wow, nice. I love that trade.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I always kind of forget about the value of quarterbacks to some people.
Yeah, it's high to some people. It's low to others. It really depends on your league.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's been leagues I've been on where the people stash 3 quarterbacks on their bench and then they lose.
Please, if you're listening to our episode, do not stash 3 quarterbacks. Have 1 backup quarterback at most.
Yeah, you don't even need 1, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you don't have a backup quarterback, it's fine. If you're in a 12-man league, if you're anything above that, maybe get a backup, but
maybe you're in a 2 quarterback league. Not a fan of that.
Oh, really hated that. Or a super flex. That was a tough time for us.
Did we do a super flex league? I don't remember.
No, it was 2 QB. I've done a super flex league.
Okay. 2 QB is trash. Anyways, should we move on to next trade target? Anything left about Calvin Ridley?
He's a good player.
He's a good player, definitely a player you want to be trading for.
He does the football well.
I think the bye week is the best week you would have, the best chance you'd have at getting him at a discounted price, whatever that discount is. I don't know if discount is even the right word, but it's definitely interesting to see players that are on their bye week and to kind of go poke the bear and see if you can get anything going just because of the bye week. Kind of mentally they forget about it a little bit. I don't know. Next up for trading, we have Raheem Mostert, who has been on injury reserve and just hurting the Raheem Mostert owner. If you're in a position where you can just add another star to your team on the cheap, if your record is good to where you can kind of wait out and have him come back fully healthy, definitely worth an addition. He was playing really well while he was not injured.
I love his playoff schedule.
Oh, yeah. Football team, Cowboys, Cardinals.
Washington football team.
Yes, the Washington football team. Thank you.
There's a lot of football teams out there.
Oh, so true. So true. Great end-of-season schedule down the playoff stretch. The 49ers love to get their running backs involved. You get some passing work, but, I mean, he was definitely an emerging star before he went down with his ankle sprain.
I agree. If I'm on a team and I have, let's say, Christian McCaffrey and maybe Alvin Kamara.
Wow, that sounds like a good
That
team.
sounds like your team.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow, that's crazy.
I would take – and I have David Montgomery and Todd Gurley.
Damn.
I would trade David Gurley, the baby that Todd Gurley and David Montgomery had. I don't know why they named it David Gurley.
Does David Gurley have dreads or no dreads?
Half and half.
Oh, nice.
He shaved the left half of his head.
Sick. Yeah. Like Killmonger from Black Panther. Was that the villain's name?
Yes. Villain? I don't know if you could call him that.
Poor acting. You can guarantee that, baby.
Hey, man, I like Michael B. Jordan.
I love Michael B. Jordan. That is one of the worst acting performances I've seen.
Dude, I really like that movie.
The movie is fun, but his acting is terrible in that movie.
Dude, R.I.P. Chad.
Damn, for real.
Oh, man, that was tough.
Yeah, I'm going to stop talking mess now.
Yeah, but I would trade Todd Gurley for Raheem Mostert if I could afford it.
Just straight up?
Just straight up.
Nice. I don't know if I'm going to do that.
I think then maybe David Montgomery. I would try David Montgomery.
No one's going to do that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe David Montgomery has this concussion. He hasn't had like phenomenal numbers that have like been like, oh shit, let me get that on the team. But it's because I don't know. You're playing David Montgomery if you have to. He's not a player that you're probably going out of your way to add.
Yeah, I think Todd Gurley was a little ambitious. Maybe
I feel like that's fair talent-wise for what you're getting. Todd Gurley's probably on the lower end. I don't know if I would even call him an RB1, but like probably the lowest end RB1 you could have. But then the highest end RB2, he's getting touchdowns, he's getting volume, definitely touchdown dependent, but
he's getting so many touchdowns. So that does put me off a little bit. Maybe
I think that's an interesting proposal though, because Todd Gurley owner, you're probably a bit hesitant with him because of the touchdown dependency, but you're also like, I don't know. He's been doing really well for my team, so I don't necessarily want to trade him.
Maybe like Leonard Fournette and Corey Davis.
That'd be interesting.
I might take that.
Yeah.
All right. I say we move on.
Oh, next trade target, baby.
That's your boy. I'll let you take over from here.
The next trade target on the list is Josh Jacobs. He's been disappointing the Josh Jacobs owner in the games. There's been a lot of games where he hasn't scored touchdowns, and he's been really touchdown dependent, I would say. But I think it's a bit misleading. I think he's going to get the volume from here on out. His schedule really lightens up. But then he does have the Colts in week 14, but then he's got the Chargers. Miami Dolphins is kind of a tougher matchup, but I think he could manage to be productive that day. But down the stretch, he has a nice schedule against the Broncos. The Chiefs are kind of middle of the road, I would say. Falcons is a great matchup. Jets, great matchup. So you have some really good matchups coming up, especially if you're fighting for a playoff spot. I think this is a player that you definitely could go and add to your team.
Yeah, I think he's a buy low candidate just because of how poorly he has been producing. As a Raiders fan, does DeVante Booker's great game last week worry you? 8 carries, 68 yards, and a touchdown?
No, I would say no. I mean, he had some explosive plays, but the Raiders have shown that they want Josh Jacobs to be their bell cow running back, and they want to run first. There have been games where they have to play catch up and pass a lot more, but they're definitely a run first team. I mean, there was that one game where Josh Jacobs had 30 handoffs, 30 carries.
Dude, why was he giving it to other players so much?
I don't know. Definitely wasn't good for his day at the old football stadium.
I think it is also worth noting that as we're moving on later in the season, the weather is going to get a lot worse. So it's going to be a lot less passing. I think Derek Carr is an average quarterback at best. That's being gentle for Greg's weak mind. He's over here sighing. He's pouting right now.
Bro, I'm not pouting. I'm just like, you sound so
You're
stupid.
crying like Derek Carr did.
Bro, you sound so dumb.
But I think the weather is going to really shape the end of the season, and I think Josh Jacobs is going to get back to that massive workload.
Agreed.
Should we move on?
Let's.
All right. Okay.
I will. Before we move on, actually, I do think Josh Jacobs is going to come at a hefty price.
I do too.
But I think it's worth it. I think if you have Todd Gurley, I don't think the Josh Jacobs owner is going to settle for Todd Gurley. I think you're going to be packaging Todd Gurley with a pretty solid wide receiver. Maybe like a T. Higgins, somewhere that's like.
I don't know if I'd give up T. Higgins, but I'd give up Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I think that purely off of the name, Justin Jefferson is sexier. I'd rather have T. Higgins than Justin Jefferson on my team, but Justin Jefferson kind of has that pizzazz to his name.
He does.
That's going to
he dropped 40.
Yeah, exactly, and he's very talented. So maybe Todd Gurley and Justin Jefferson would be able to get you Josh Jacobs.
I think so.
Maybe you kind of swindle just another player out of it, just because it's a 2-man trade.
Up next, we got DeVante Parker, who. It was kind of questionable what his outlook would look like when Tua started. And the first week he had 1 catch for a touchdown. And I was definitely panicking a little bit. I don't own DeVante Parker, but one of my favorite players. I don't want to speak for you. Yeah, I love watching him play. Really. When I do the rankings and I do the research on him, somebody I always root for. And I was pleasantly surprised this week when he had 6 catches for 64 yards. And Tua just looked better than he has, and he's looking confident. He's looking like he can make all the right throws. But the beautiful part is that schedule. You wanna read that schedule, Greg? You got it pulled up?
I don't have it pulled up.
Okay, I got us.
You got us, but
not only does he have a great playoff schedule, the rest of his schedule is so juicy. He's got the Chargers, the Broncos, the Jets, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Patriots, and for the championship game, the Raiders. I think DeVante Parker has a wide receiver 1 potential.
Yeah, and you're going to this season.
Yeah, and you're going to get him at a wide receiver 2 price. I think it's a bargain. I think a lot of people that own DeVante Parker, they might be a little high on him, but
they probably drafted him.
Yeah, I think you can talk it down with the emergence of Tua. Kind of chalk up last week's game to it's not going to be like it was with Fitzmagic. Look, you saw the first game, 1 catch, but he had 7 targets last week. I think we can see more. Preston Williams is out this week too, so if you can get him this week, I think he's going to be a great addition to the squad.
I mean, his schedule just rest of the season is so cakewalk for.
Oh, it's amazing
for them. Obviously, a bit of something to take into consideration is probably inconsistent play from a rookie quarterback. That's just something that happens, but you can't always predict it. Obviously, there are some rookies who play really well, just through and through. Whoa, voice crack.
Oh, man.
Wow. But, yeah, I don't know. There is some hesitation there, but just the strength of schedule and some of the injuries that have happened, really, really great value moving forward with DeVante Parker. Next up, we have our sell candidates. You ready to ride?
Oh, I'm born ready.
Our first sell candidates is just the Steelers trio of wide receivers. All three of them individually holds, I would say, pretty tremendous value.
Yeah, nothing to do with their production on this one.
Yeah, because they've all produced at different points. I would say Chase Claypool is probably the most inconsistent, but then again, he has been on the. I would say in all actuality, Deontay Johnson is by the numbers the most inconsistent, but it's because of his injuries. When he's on the field, in my opinion, he's the wide receiver that you want the most out of all three of them. But yeah, Ben Roethlisberger can sling it to all of them. I think that these are wide receivers that you can use a package with another player and go and acquire an elite player.
I agree. And I want to clarify that don't just trade them away just to trade them away. I think you trade them away in a situation where you can get a wide receiver of equal talent that is just more consistent, because you're playing a game every week of which Steelers wide receiver is going to pop off, and it's a tough one to play, to be honest.
Which wide receiver out of the trio do you think holds the most value?
I think Juju holds the most value. And Juju is the wide receiver that if I had to have one on my team, I would want.
Yeah.
But I would be looking to trade him, obviously.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think you can – if you package him with a David Montgomery, with let's say a Kareem Hunt, you might be able to fuck around and get a Derrick Henry or a Nick Chubb, somebody it's a real elite running back, or maybe an elite wide receiver if the team you're trading has needs.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that I have lost faith in the Steelers wide receiver. It's just that I don't know. You never know which one's going to pop off. If there's one thing we've learned with the rankings,
yeah,
it's that whoever you put up front is probably not going to do well unless I talk Greg into putting Juju.
But they've all done well.
Exactly.
In the same game. So it's
which is good for their trade value, but that's not something. If you're making a playoff push, you're trying to rely on consistent numbers on a weekly basis. You don't want to put your playoff lineup out and have to worry, Deontay Johnson, is he going to drop 10 today? Is he going to drop 5 today? Or is he going to drop 40 today?
Is he going to play today?
That's the big question.
Yeah, that really is.
So if you can trade him for if you can get a trade and maybe you scoop Stephon Diggs, you'd obviously need to package some stuff with Deontay Johnson and Juju to get that. But just knowing that you can get a player that is very consistent, I think will help your team in the long run and help you not stress as much when it comes playoff time.
I know that this isn't necessarily getting a player that's more consistent, but has, I would say, greater upside than any of them. But like someone like a Deontay Johnson or a Juju, packaging with another player, of course, upgrading to Tyler Lockett.
I'm out.
You're out on that one?
I'm out on that. I'm not big on Tyler Lockett.
Maybe A.J. Brown then.
I think Tyler Lockett.
A.J. Brown's a bit more consistent.
Oh, if you could get A.J. Brown, that would be amazing. If you could trade...
I'd take Tyler Lockett over any of those.
If you could trade Juju for Travis Fulgham, I think that's a great trade.
You'd be able to offer that and get that shit accepted just off of the Juju name, probably.
Travis Fulgham has shown every single week that he's consistent. I would look for Terry McLaurin, Tyler Boyd. If you're trading Chase Claypool, I'm maybe looking in the DeVante Parker.
Would you try and trade
Brandon Cooks range?
Chase Claypool for Mike Evans, another player that's like kind of similar boom or bust, but I would say
I don't think so, because I think if you're...
These are like kind of sideways upgrades, I would say.
Exactly. Because if you're going to trade away one of these Steelers wide receivers, it's because you want consistency. So trading for a player that's not consistent is really you're just shooting yourself in the foot, because you already have a player that isn't consistent but produces. You don't know Mike Evans is going to produce.
Yeah. Maybe Chase Claypool for T. Higgins.
That would be a great trade.
That'd be a great trade.
If you could get Chase Claypool and maybe like a lower end running back that somebody's in need, maybe like a Leonard Fournette. Let's see.
Antonio Gibson.
Oh, if you could do Chase Claypool and Antonio Gibson and scoop Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, maybe even like a DeVante Parker, like I was saying, Tyler Boyd, I'm loving that, because that's a player that you're going to start and you're not going to have to worry about.
Yeah.
because now every single time you're starting Deontay Johnson, Juju, or Chase Claypool, you're wondering which one's going to pop off. I think we've talked enough about these boys.
Yeah, I think if you have Steelers wide receivers, you're really just looking to gain a more consistent player.
Absolutely. Up next is Austin Ekeler, which is a tough one for me because I have Austin Ekeler. But the word around town is, well, when he suffered his injury, his hamstring ripped from the bone.
Damn.
That sounds painful.
Graphic.
Yeah. So he obviously didn't come back in the 4 to 6 week timetable. And I just don't see a world where they are going to put Austin Ekeler back out there when their team is already losing. So I don't think Austin Eckler's coming back. If he does, it's going to be so late. You're probably already screwed. You may have already traded Austin Ekeler, but I think you gotta pull the trigger now, though. I think now's the best time.
Do you think that this might even be too late? To be honest,
it might be too late.
If you have Austin, you have to go and trade him at a discount to a winning team.
That's true.
So you're only trading Austin Ekeler if you're fighting to make it to the playoffs, and you can trade Austin Ekeler maybe for like Todd Gurley. You might even have to get rid of another player just to gain Todd Gurley.
I think you're going to have to package at least 2 players, but I think the name alone will boost up whatever your trade is. So you got to think about it from the aspect that Austin Ekeler is not coming back. So you're trading, let's say you're trading Austin Ekeler and Justin Jefferson. You're getting something back for Justin Jefferson that's worth more than Justin Jefferson's worth.
Yeah.
Just by giving up a player that's probably not going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, he could come back, but it just wouldn't make sense since the team's already losing. They're going to want to keep him healthy.
My guess is too, if you have Austin Ekeler, you drafted him, you're now in a position where you're either A, completely out for the season, no disrespect, but full disrespect.
It's a little disrespectful.
But like to you.
I'd also drafted George Kittle, so my season's been a little rough.
But I mean, if you drafted Austin Ekeler, there's you invested very high capital in him. You're probably struggling to get through the season. Maybe you've been able to get lucky and find yourself in playoff contention, or you're in the playoffs. Like Justin was saying, you could get viable assets that you're going to be able to play. Austin Ekeler is literally just taking up your IR spot.
Exactly. If you're in like that 4 and 5, 5 and 4 region, you really need to make a push. I think Austin Ekeler is the perfect guy to boost up a trade for one of the players that you're iffy about.
Yeah.
And just come away with a haul and don't even look back in the rearview mirror. You don't have to worry about if he comes back. You don't have to worry about if he comes back and does well because he's gone.
Cut ties.
Yeah, exactly.
Clean cut. Clean break.
Clean break.
Just like I was gonna say Raheem Mostert's arm, but I don't remember if that was him or not.
I feel like you talked about this last week.
Yeah, and I was also unsure about it last week.
Just like I can't remember his name. Kevin something, the basketball player from Louisville in the NCAA tournament from a while ago.
That thing was gnarly.
Oh,
I don't
man,
remember his name, but
that shin. Ooh, good times. Just like Kyle Allen's leg.
Too soon, bro.
His ankle ligaments.
I feel like they made less of a deal about it. They made more of a show about it when Dak did it than when Kyle Allen did it.
Well,
kind of makes me a bit mad. Where's the
Kyle
quality?
Allen didn't slam that shit into the ground.
True, but it was like
I want to say it was worse. It was backwards.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott was just at 3:00.
And Dak Prescott he was such a prima donna. He was crying so much.
Oh
I was like,
God.
oh, bro, spare me. Spare me, Dak. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Kyle Allen took it like a man.
Walk it off, bro.
Yeah.
Just walk it off.
Yeah, he had to get carted off. Pathetic. Anyways, that's why they paid Case Keenum. Or not Case Keenum. Jeez, Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
So he can get speared the next week.
Oh, God.
And that was really disrespectful.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Speedy recovery to both of those gentlemen. The NFL.
Both of those lads.
Yeah, NFL definitely misses Dak Prescott a lot more than Kyle Allen, and that showed in the way they covered it. Kyle Allen got no media love.
And he's on the Cowboys.
They're like, well, Alex Smith gets the starting job. Let's not be celebrating that. Let's be pouring one out for the homie.
No, they're talking about how great his leg is now.
Yeah. Oh, makes me nervous. Anyways, super unnecessary conversation, but
No.
goddamn.
Kind of liked it.
Next on the list for sell now is Jerry Jeudy, coming off of a breakout performance against the Falcons. Do you think he replicates this?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't trust it.
He's been boomer bust. I don't really want to say boomer bust, but inconsistent to say the least. You're banking on him to have those big chunk plays. Some weeks he gets them, some weeks he doesn't. But yeah, his schedule is pretty decent the next couple of weeks, I would say.
I think his schedule is pretty good, but I think you should use that to trade him.
Yeah.
He's got a great schedule, blah, 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 Jerry Jeudy. But, yeah, I mean, Tim Patrick's still there. They're playing the Falcons, so it's a shootout. I don't expect every single week for Jerry Jeudy to be putting up these numbers. He's a great route runner. Oh, man, did you watch one of his touchdowns?
I saw one touchdown.
Where he just
Did he only have one touchdown? So yeah, I did see that one.
He
touchdown.
absolutely.
Just torched someone, right?
Oh my god, he torched him, but then he broke back in, and that dude was looking like a fool.
Oh wait, who were they playing?
The
They were playing the
Falcons.
Falcons. I'll have to go back and watch that play.
It was amazing, great play. I mean, Jerry Judy's a stud, and I like him in the upcoming years. But I think right now, his trade value's never been higher.
We've seen time and time again rookie wide receivers just be inconsistent on what they're able to produce.
I agree. I don't think. Well, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't count on Jerry Jeudy. You're looking at Jerry Jeudy right now thinking, oh, he might get 25 next week. But I would see that coming back down to 10. Maybe you can trade him for a wide receiver that averages 12. I think you win that trade.
Travis Fulgham?
Dude, Travis Fulgham. There's no way. Travis Fulgham's averaging like 19.
Do you think you could do that trade, though?
Jerry Jeudy for Travis Fulgham?
Yeah.
No chance. The Travis Fulgham owner knows.
Fair enough.
He's seen it every week.
One trade that we saw happen in our league today was for Jerry Jeudy. We saw Justin Herbert get traded for Jerry Jeudy. Which
I mean, if you need a quarterback,
yeah,
not a terrible trade.
I think that's a winning trade for the Justin Herbert owner.
What about Christian Kirk for Jerry Jeudy? I don't know if
I'd almost rather have Jerry Jeudy over Christian Kirk, but Christian Kirk's been on fire.
I'd rather have Christian Kirk. I
Better
just don't
offense.
think. I don't think the Christian Kirk
fair.
owner would do that.
Maybe. Just maybe. I don't know. It's worth it to go point. Jerry Judy's name has this rhetoric that he has the opportunity to be an elite wide receiver. So you're kind of going to be using that to sell him as well as the schedule.
Maybe throw him in a package.
100%.
Maybe he's just the icing on top for a package.
Maybe see if you can get him for Tim Patrick.
Honestly, I like Tim Patrick more. So
who would you rather have rest of the season, Jerry Jeudy or John Brown?
That is tough. John Brown, if he's healthy.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think he's a better player.
I think he's a more consistent player, but Jerry Jeudy has higher upside. But
agreed. I think that's about it. Appreciate you guys for listening. If you have any trade questions, drop them in the comments. We'll reply. If you have anything to say about how stupid we are, let us know too.
One love.